I'm gonna take a first bite. Hello YouTube. It was a very long time ago when I uploaded my last video on this channel, and it was about my collaboration with Jim Beam, which is a Slovak brand for supplements. And it was pretty long time ago. It was about 1.5 years ago. And right now I'm trying to do a YouTube comeback. This is my first video in English, so forgive me my mistakes in this language, but I want to try do content in English language, and I want to go like more into world. So let's get started this one, and let's hear my story, why I was injured and what's happening to me. I'm gonna eat with this video, so I don't want to make a like dark atmosphere about it. It's just life, and I want to talk about my life and what happens to me in my bodybuilding journey. So let's talk and enjoy your meal if you eat right now. I'm 22 years now, old ago classic physique bodybuilder. 4 years ago I was in men's physique category and I won some competitions, but this is not the topic of this video. The topic of this video is my injury. After Evils in Prague, it was my first NPC show, like an amateur. I want to make a great off season and stuff like that. And I was pushing hard myself to competition and to off season. And after this show it was 2022 in August, I placed second from 2 in juniors and third in men's from fourth competitors. Before that competition in NPC, I got a competition in April 2022, and it was like a national show, not in NPC federation, but this show was a great. I know that I can be a little bit low of body fat. I need to pull it down, but I was hyped after this show. I need to make a step to NPC, which is the best way and the best step for me, like a hard worker in classic physique. NPC is my top federation, and I like to compete here. I like the vibe, like everything from American bodybuilding. So my decision was go from nationals level and in this Slovak federation go to NPC show. I placed second in April in national, and then I switched to NPC. After that, my second place in nationals in our federation, Slovak federation, I was hyped, and I want to push myself, do a little bit of off season, and then go for a cut, and then I want to do my first show in NPC, and it was Evils Prague. So it was it. I do it. I end I tell you, second and third. And after this show, things like gone down. I don't know what to say about this last year, because after Evils I want to do best of season and make another NPC show. And my mistake was that I go very hard for it. After Evils in August 2022, I got about 1 week of rest, and it was not enough after competition. I wanted to bring my best to another show, so I pushed hard. I wasn't enough for me in many aspects. I don't see myself like I was. I got a good natural form, and it was not enough for me, and it was a bit mistake that I don't look at myself like a from few different perspectives. I was not enough for me in every aspect. Second was not enough for me. Third, absolutely no. But I guess it was from message from God that I need to stop a bit, and I need to not improving my physique. I need to improve my visions and my life steps. I I trained hard after NPC competition, and 3 months after competition, one day I wake up with like a I don't know how to say it, like a my bones in toe was not good. I guess it's broken. My traps was absolutely stiff. It was like I don't know. It was like you got still something on your traps, and it was like sticky and like a stone, and I can't even massage it with something or like help me go through this. It was like a stone every time I do my workout. It was second thing, and third thing, I guess it was worst one. It was I injured my hip in same time. I got a subchondral fibrosis or something like that, and I don't even know what does it mean. After research it, I finally know it was from that I do some bad move or I got some secret like injury or something like that. I don't even notice anything about in my legs, in my back. Never, nothing. I was oh I was I need to eat. I was ready to go and to push after the show. For gonna kill me. Anyway, I was ready to push myself, and in the day one, I woke up with of 3 pains, or would I say it before 1 minute. So I was like frustrated from this because it was I don't even know what was that. When I woke up, I just, okay, it's gonna be okay, I'm gonna for massage, okay, I'm gonna to physiotherapist, and it was not that good, but in that time I don't know it, and it was the worst and the worst and the worst, and I need to stop. I choose with my wife a new coach. It was David Demescuita Dynamic D on Instagram. Hello David, if you watch this. After that, I need to stop training. For me it was like you know, when you train from your 14, you know, all of you watching this video know how much important training and the workout for you is, not only for physical benefits but for psychological and mental statute. And it was for me hard, yeah, I need to say that. I started to do some physiotherapy exercises, some massages, nothing works. So I was like, I don't know, 5 or 6 months I was without training, and in that time I married my wifey, and it was and on the other side it was a very good time in my life. I just take my woman of my life like my wife. So it was for me like one of the best because of marriage and because of my wifey, and one of the worst because of my injuries season of my life. And when I look at it from 2 different perspectives, it was a move for my life, like a husband. God just need to say me that, look Erik, you need to focus more on your family, on your wife, on other aspects of your life. You trained so long, I need a bit to stop you right now, and you need to focus on and other things. And right now I'm okay with that. I understand everything, but in that time it was tough for me because I live with that life. I got the sponsorship from supplements company in Slovakia, probably the best and the biggest on the Slovakia and Czechia. I got the clients and the people who were believe me, and I was like from day to day off, completely off. When story goes to another days, I try to live with that. When your life is okay, nothing is that bad, you know. But for me, it was like a train who in full speed, like a crash. That was me in the time. But anyway, right now I am good with these injuries. But at the end of the video, I'm gonna tell you how I feel right now. So after about 2 or 3 months without gym, push it down, I was like, okay, this is the situation I need to go through. I need to be okay. I need to focus on other things. Thank God that you give me these 2 life, because I need it. I imagine a few things in life. First one, gym is absolutely not everything. Your physique is not everything. Your physique looks great and you feel great when you are okay in all aspects and areas in your life. So this is the first one. Second one, sometimes you don't need to push only yourself. You need to push others instead of yourself, because it's very important too in this life. And when you get something like achieved, you need to help achieve that to people who want it. So you need to focus on other people too, not only for yourself. Third one, body dysmorphia. When you feel low, like you're really lowest, you can't even go to gym and make a bicep curl. You don't care no more about how you look like in the mirror. It was like, I want to go gym, I want to feel the pump again, I just want to train, I want to feel healthy. I don't even know if my shoulder is bigger than the other. I just want to lift. I want to lift heavy, I want to lift weights. I don't even care how I look like. Fourth one, family. Don't focus only on yourself. You need to help to your family too. You need to make them good. You need to feel them good. You need to, when you only work on yourself and like have all this stuff and never gonna stop, like 7 days in a week, you go like crazy. You need to imagine that one day your parents and your family, your little sister gonna grow, and your parents gonna be older and older, and things gonna never be the same. If you are very focused and got a flow and I don't know everything in this area, you are famous, don't forget for family. And fifth thing is like if you can't even move, you can read, you can hear, make yourself good in this situation, learn new skill, make some new topics, make some new write, go for new information, try to improve your mindset, try to improve everything you do, try to improve your information about training, about sleep, about supplements, about healthy food. And then after you come back to the gym, you can fully apply it, and you go and you move for vision and you go up. So don't forget to do these 5 things when you are very low and you even can training. So I got a subchondral fibrosis. I was a treatment with hyaluronic acid, with blood plasma, and with laser therapy. These 3 things I was doing for heal completely my hip, and of course exercises. So right now it's better and better, and I can train again heavy legs. I like to train legs, and it is good, very good. So we are good with hip. Another point was my finger on the leg. I used to again make blood plasma to it, like to hip, hyaluronic acid and laser therapy, and right now it is good. Any problems? Maybe a bit when I do calf stretches and stuff like that, but it is very good. So again, I can train again. So two things of three are done. Third one is like very, I don't know how to say it in English, mystery. I got a very tight traps, so I need to improve my posture, and I need to manually try to reduce it and try to make those spasms like a soft again and feel good again in training. This third one, I actually working on it. I need to improve it. It is better, but not good as time ago. I got a MRI for a thoracic, and it was all good, no any problems. So I guess it's gonna be good, and we're gonna make it. And in between these things, I do some myofascial release infusion. So it can help to reduce those spasms. So this is the state where I am right now. I'm feeling good. I talked to Walt last 10 minutes because it stopped here. But anyway, in 2024, I don't get plans. I want to go very slow and very steady. I want to improve my physique. Want to go to off season like slow and steady, very not like waves on the ocean and heavy and go like a crazy. I need to go like a pure clear water. I need to push myself, not too much, but like, you know, in flow. So in 2024 I would like to do great off season, make some improvement, better body posture, and I don't know if I'm gonna compete this year, but we will see what's going to happen. So this year I came back to YouTube, came back to make content again, and I'm gonna create content in English and in Slovakia too. In English with Slovak subtitles and in Slovakia with English subtitles. I'm gonna switch in it, yeah. So I want to talk in Slovakian and in English too. So I'm gonna mix it, and all of you guys gonna understand me. Injuries right now are in good level, so I can push yourself and make YouTube and content and stuff again. So I'm very happy, and for you guys, if you do any sport, if you do bodybuilding, skiing, like I don't know, playing football, soccer, basketball, everything, don't focus only on yourself, focus on all aspects in your life, and grow in all areas of your life, and you're gonna be really happy. Pray every day. Pray for a better version of yourself, and if you go through something like I was, just wait and hear what God's saying to you, because it got a reason. You know, every time in life when you go through something darker and something like a heavy, everything got a reason. So don't rush. Don't go like crazy. Listen to your body, listen to God. And yes, from this video is everything. I guess that you're gonna enjoy this type of videos. So stay tuned. We're gonna train, we're gonna eat, we're gonna sleep, we're gonna rest, we're gonna everything. And click to subscribe, give like, comment, share, follow on social platforms, social medias, and don't forget for 5 rules which I got to you today of my own experience. And be healthy in first time, be brave, and focus. Right now I'm gonna eat this last meal and gonna probably make another content for you. So see you in the next video, and have a great evening or day or morning or anything you got after this video. Peace. See you soon.